Mr. TrungThuong, Head of Trade Office, ViE Trade, Vietnam. Born in Hanoi, capital, Vietnam, Mr. Bui did his master's degree in International Business Economics, National Economics University, Vietnam. He did a short internship training course in Japan and South Korea. He has worked in private sectors between the year 2000 and 2005. Between the year 2006 and 2012, he worked as a government official at Ministry of Industry and Trade of Vietnam. Currently, he is a diplomat at Embassy of SR of Vietnam, New Delhi. Mr. Bu's interests include reading and playing golf. Mr. Bu is here to address on the topic eating habits of Vietnam and scope of food businesses in Vietnam. We are privileged to welcome Mr. Bu to the summit at vibrant Tamilnadu.
Yeah, first of all, it's my great pleasure to be here with you today. And I would like to thank you very much to the organizer for Tamilnadu Chamber of Finance and the chairman here, and all the team to invite me and give me the chance to share some basic information about our Vietnam food industry and about the eating habit, also some scope business opportunity in Vietnam. As you already heard about all the very specific sector, but from my speech, I only provide some general information. Actually, as you all know, we are working in embassy, so we talk much about the relation, also talk about the relationship between India and Vietnam also. As you may know, Vietnam is a country in the Southeast Asia with the population almost around 60 million US people. We share the border with China, now Cambodia, and the Gulf of Thailand and East Asia with 3,260 kilometer coastline. We have a very strategic location in the heart of Southeast Asia. So Vietnam is a very specific country with political stability and social security. Vietnam is a developed, successful story. As you know, we have suffered a lot time during the war. So the political and economic reform launched in 1986 have transformed Vietnam from one of the poorest countries to with the income per capita less than $100 per year. But only after 20 days after we reform the policy, so our income per capita reached $2,600 in 2017. You can see only in 2025 our income per capita increased almost 25-25-fold. And over the last few decades, Vietnam has made remarkable progress in the reducing poverty, and the percentage of the people living in the poverty reduced from 60% in 1990 to less than 3% nowadays. You can imagine that from 60% we are in the poverty, right now only less than 3%. And Vietnam growth rate is also marked at the top of the world. Average growth at around 6 to 7 in last 2 decades. According to the data from Asia Development Bank, Vietnam economy will grow more than 7% in this year. The external sector continue to be the very important engine for our growth. The Vietnam economy is highly open to external trade. It's almost 2 times of its GDP. In 2017, total foreign trade of our country reached 480 billion, almost more than half of India. In which our export turnover around 246 billion US dollar, and our main export partner as US accounted for 19%, China 16%, Japan 8%, South Korea 7%, Hong Kong 4%, and New Zealand Our main product are telephone, mobile phone, and bath accounted for 21%, garment and textile 12%, computer and electrical product 12%, shoe and footwear 7%, machinery and instrument and accessory around 6%. Our total import value in 2017 was 233 billion. Our main partner are China. China accounts 30% of our import value, following by Korean 22%, Japan 8%, Taiwan 6%, Thailand 5%, and the US 4%. Our main import product are computer, electrical product 18%, machinery and instrument 60%, telephone, mobile phone around 8%, textile fabrics 5%, and iron steel 4%. Now we are talking about the India and Vietnam relation. India and Vietnam holds very key position in the region in both the trade and commerce, as well as under the standing on political and security issues. As an active member of ASEAN, Vietnam is a very important partner for India, growing trade and investment ties with the rest of South Asia countries. And the focus of India ICT policy. During the official visit of our president to India in March this year, the two sides have talked in several areas in bilateral interest, including international security, in maritime, cyberspace, as well as strengthen general and trade investment. The bilateral trade between the two countries increased more than tenfold over the last 10 years, from only 1.1 billion in 2007, when the two countries declared our strategic partnership, to 12.8 billion last year. Vietnam is the fourth biggest partner in ASEAN and seventh position worldwide for India. And our main Vietnam export to India are telephone, mobile phone, and electrical, and many other agricultural products like tea, coffee, pepper, and cashew, and seafood also. We import a lot from India, the fishery product, meat, peanuts, and even shrimp and prawn, cuttlefish, sugarcane, and cotton, and many other like animal feed. Because we don't have much time, so we will cut down my presentation. Right now, I'm talking about the Vietnam food industry. In Vietnam, there are 3 or 4 of the population living in a rural area, making agriculture and aquaculture product is a very critical to our country. Agriculture accounts for 22% of our GDP and 30% of our total export and 60% of employment. Vietnam, we also very strong in aquatic product. Vietnam seafood export have made great growth in the past 20 years. The turnover from only 515 million in 1995, and we reached more than 8 billion, from only 500 million to 8 billion last year. And our main markets are the US, the number 1, the EU, and Japan. The 3 main partners account for more than 50% of our export. And it also ranks the 4th among the main exporter items of our country, like garment, textile, crude oil, and mobile phone. Right now I'm talking about the eating habit in Vietnam. As you see, because we are also the very poor country, so we have the traditional culture even in our food. We often have the family meal, and it's very important in ASEAN and Vietnam. The meal is not expressing the food and expressing the love between the family member. The dinner is the sound of happiness and the love, where the people can share on the joy, the sadness of the day. And Vietnamese people, when it comes to the meal, it used to be called the feast, and we eat a lot of dry, a lot of non-vegetarian food. But nowadays, because the changing in the economic and social, so the habit of being also change very much. Right now, many young people would like to go to restaurant rather than have food at home like before. And even in the recent year, many fast food companies in the world have landed in the Vietnamese market. So changing the facing of food and beverage industry in our country, and provides the Vietnamese consumer with more choices. Here right now, I'd like to talk about the business opportunity between the India and Vietnam. There are very huge scope for foreigner investment in Vietnamese market. It's for investors. Food processing industry is one of the industry selected and given priority from our government to development. The large market in Vietnam. If you invest in Vietnam, apart from the large market in Vietnam, you can export all over the world because we have provide some incentive to investors also. And this sector was growing very steady in the period of 2012-2016, with average of 7 to 10% compared to 1% in the world. And annual food consumption is estimated around 15 to 20% of our GDP. The market for the food production processing still has plenty of room for growth, especially in the sectors such as the seafood, the milk, beverage, confectionery, and cooking oil. Vietnam is one of the largest exporters of dry pepper, coffee, cashew, seafood, but we also import a lot of raw material. Right now, many foreigner investors already invest in Vietnam. As the data in the 2017, there are around 25,000 projects foreigner already invest in Vietnam, which amount of 313 billion US dollar. And in the past 12 years, Vietnam seafood export have yield a lot of raw material, but now that we import raw material from overseas, especially from shrimp and prawn. We import from India a lot. Every year around 700 to 1 billion US dollar only for prawn and some fishery product. And we also import a lot of meat from India also, like buffalo meat. The Vietnam is the largest market for Indian buffalo meat, with annual import value of around 2 billion US dollar, accounted around half of the overall Indian export. So with a few words, I would like to thank you again. Thank you very much for your attention, and wish you all the best. Thank you.